We talk a lot about horror movies, SCPs, and cosmic horror quite a bit on this channel. Well, super scary and awesome, it's not often that we get to show some love to the medium that has consistently taken horror to previously unknown places: anime. The Japanese animation art form has been delivering on some really awesome and terrifying ideas in ways that traditional filmmaking and storytelling can't. Sometimes series that don't usually have horror elements can get crazy scary too. Hello horror heads, and welcome back to Top 5 Scary Videos. I'm your horror host, Keegan Hughes, and today we are counting down the top 5 scariest demons from anime. Before we get started, make sure to give us a big thumbs up and subscribe if you want more scary content. Let's go. Coming in at number 5, we've got Naga the boar demon from Princess Mononoke. Please refrain from making any feral hog jokes, okay? This is serious business. For real though, have you ever seen a boar up close? They've got those nasty tusks and they'll try to kill and eat all sorts of stuff. But we're not talking about real boars right now, are we? No. We're talking about Naga the boar god. Imagine a boar 10 times larger than a regular one. Okay, now add hatred and rotting flesh and maggots. You still with me? Now imagine, if you would, what you would do if something like that ran straight at you, eyes aglow. Would you stand and fight? Would you run away? Nah, let's be real. You'd probably crap your pants. A creature like that is exactly what Prince Ashitaka went up against at the beginning of Princess Mononoke. Originally the leader of a boar clan, he led his fellow creatures in fighting off humans from Irontown as they tried to take over the mountainside. These efforts were successful for a while, but came to a stop when Lady Eboshi brought her riflemen along. The boar could not stand up to the power of the rifles, and Naga was shot by Eboshi. The iron ball stayed within his flesh, corrupting him from the inside. As his flesh rotted, the great boar's rage increased alongside his fear of death until he became a demon god. Rampaging along the countryside, he was a writhing mass of hatred, destroying everything he came in contact with. At this point, he looked similar to a giant spider with masses of worms crawling all over its flesh. Not a pretty sight. In addition to being hideous, stinky, and massively destructive, Naga also found a way to concentrate all of his negative feelings towards humans into a powerful curse. In his final battle with the prince, he infects the human leader with a touch, dooming him to die slowly from the curse mark. Naga's dying words promised the human race a similar fate to his own, full of hatred and regret. His physical form and intense hatred are scary enough on their own, but when you think about how he came to be, it becomes even more unsettling. If left alone, the boar probably would have carried on and lived a normal life. But humans came along with their corrupting influence and transformed him into something he hated. Underneath the tragic story of Naga lies a message about how humans treat the environment, and it rings especially true today. Soon enough, we might find Naga-like creatures in the biomes that we've invaded. Are you ready to face down a boar demon? Coming in number 4, we've got angels from Neon Genesis Evangelion. Okay, yes, they're called angels, not demons, but the way they act is definitely not angelic. As descendants of Adam with a genetic code 99.98% similar to humans, these guys are massively destructive beings that must be systematically destroyed by nerve. Humans who have cast aside form, they develop until a certain point as humanoid entities before undergoing spontaneous metamorphosis into adult form. Some are vaguely humanoid in shape, while others can take on the forms of insects, geometric beings, and even fourth dimensional shadow bodies. It's hard to determine the angels' motivations, as the clues regarding this are ambiguous and varied throughout the series. Some say they are looking to make contact with Adam, which could bring on a third impact and destroy mankind. Others hypothesize that the angels are looking to access Lilith and reset all life. Not having clear objectives makes them all the more unpredictable, which is a pretty scary thought. Ultra powerful beings that we don't understand, possibly looking to contact their progenitor and end all human life? Oh boy. Speaking of powers, these things have plenty. From AT, or absolute terror fields that allow them to create force fields, levitate, and jump huge distances, to exploding cores and energy projection, angels are nothing to mess with. Plus, most seem to be capable of regeneration, making them even more difficult to kill. On top of the existential threats the angels pose, there are some moments in the show that are genuinely chilling. I won't get too deep into these moments here and now, but if you know, you know. It's hard to say if Shinji and company ever really had a fighting chance. In our number 3 spot, we have Ginmen from Devilman. So we'll jump from very existential threats to extremely personal ones. Enter Ginmen, a depraved, sadistic, repulsive, perverse turtle monster. This demon revels in the suffering of humans so much so that he will eat them alive instead of allowing them to die before consuming them. This quirk of his also allows him to psychologically torment others as well. He does this by storing his victims' still living faces on the back of his shell after eating them. The faces still retain sentience and they know that they've been eaten. This is actually based on a Japanese folktale known as Ginmen, where face-shaped sores will appear all over a human's body and cause extreme pain unless they're fed. I don't even want to imagine that. Trypophobia has never seemed so scary. Ginmen compares the faces on his shell to tattoos and wears them with great pride. It's also a useful combat scare tactic, as he can use the relationships these people had to his advantage. Upon hearing the screams of loved ones, anyone who wants to stand against Ginmen will have to think twice. If they kill him or damage his shell, that person is gone forever. I elaborated on his cruelty earlier, and I might even go as far as to say he has no redeeming qualities at all. He is devious and will work with other demons until they are no longer useful to him. This guy gives me the creeps. On top of all the terrible traits, he is also quite strong. His shell and rough skin make him durable, so he can pick up full-grown humans in one hand. He's also got the ability to burn flesh with the palm of his hand, and he can eject flames from his shell. A pizza-loving teenage mutant ninja turtle, he is not. Coming in at number 2, we've got Lil Slugger from Paranoia Agent. Also known as Bat Boy, this little guy packs quite the punch as the primary antagonist in Paranoia Agent. Appearing as a young baseball player on gold roller skates, he uses a bent baseball bat to attack people all over Tokyo, all while evading capture. At first, his attacks seem random, but soon it is hypothesized that they're all connected. He will only attack people in crisis, and the violent assaults seem to actually lead to an improvement in the life of the victim. One of the detectives pursuing Lil Slugger learns this and is convinced that the bat-wielding assailant is a supernatural force. The detective becomes obsessive and broadcasts a warning to the people of Tokyo, which exacerbates the public's fears. As fear rises, the attacks increase. Truth and fiction are blurred, and Lil Slugger becomes an incredibly powerful urban legend. Luckily, the detectives eventually confront the person who is attacked first for more details. This girl is the creator of a popular dog mascot named Moromi, whose popularity seems to be rising in tandem with the notoriety of Lil Slugger. It's revealed that Moromi is actually based on a real puppy she had as a kid. She accidentally dropped the leash and the puppy ran into traffic where it was killed. Instead of taking responsibility, she invented the bat-wielding, skate-wearing puppy killer. Lil Slugger is a paranormal figment of this girl's guilt and fear, brought to life by her need to escape her responsibilities. It was made even more powerful through the fear of the general public. In the end, she confesses the truth and accepts her guilt, defeating Lil Slugger. So it ties up real nicely at the end of the anime, but imagine if the detectives never went back to question her. She would have held on to that guilt for her entire life, and Lil Slugger would have just become more and more powerful. And if she can manifest some omnipresent roller skating people basher, imagine what other people could come up with. Not everyone is as meek as a mascot designing teenager. Coming in at number 1, we've got Pride from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Of course, our number 1 spot is going to this disgusting little monster. Pride is the most powerful of the 7 homunculi and Father's second in command. On the surface, this shadow bastard appears to be a sweet and cheerful child, but that's just a facade. Beneath his rosy cheeks and little spiky bowl cut lies a ruthless, sadistic, and resourceful killer. The childlike shell is just a container for the real shadowy body full of dark tendrils, tentacles, mouths, and red eyes. The shadow can expand wide enough to cover an entire city and is impervious to conventional harm. He is also in full control of its shadow wherever it spreads, allowing him to see, hear, and manipulate anything that falls under that darkness. On top of the immediately obvious dark powers, Pride also has the abilities of all of its siblings. It can cut through anything, remains invulnerable, can shapeshift and manipulate, can devour and assimilate others and their powers. Talk about a crazy power level, huh? All of these abilities under the control of a cold and calculating child seems pretty horrifying, right? Pride's personality can be summed up by its name as well. It is the incarnation of arrogance, only caring for itself. It'll kill with indifference and rid itself of allies as soon as it can. But beneath that pristine veneer of pride lies anger, bloodlust, and a desire for vengeance. Nothing good can come from that combination. And that caps off our list of scariest anime demons. I know it was sort of surface level, but if you guys have any other anime demons you want to see on a top 5 list, let me know down in the comments. Before we finish up here, let's take a look at some of your comments from last time. K Night Raven M says, Keegan looks faded. Good times. I mean, people usually just call me really pale instead of faded, but I'll take it. Itachi Uchiha says, a word of advice, Keegan, my man. Ditch the stash. You look like a creepy 70s uncle. But if I ditch the stash, how will my creepy 70s nieces and nephews recognize me? Can't have that, I'm sorry. Dave Luna says, Keegan, what up, brother? Hey Dave, just out here living the dream, you know, researching horror, performing rituals, hailing the new flesh, the usual. That's all we have for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Also known as Bat Boy, this little guy packs quite the punch as the primary? I don't know, man. Oh. Also known as Batman. Nope, Bat Boy. Batman is definitely not this guy. Oh boy, you can visit Top 10 Nerd to learn about Batman. Yes, this wasp has been shot. Ooh. Alright, well, puberty never happened.